The sanctuary of Delphi is probably the most extraordinary of all ancient Greek sites. Delphi amazes all who visit it. This place is the center of the world. The ancient Greeks called it the omphalos, which means the navel of the earth. Zeus, the father of the gods, wanted to find the center of the universe, so he sent two eagles flying from the opposite ends of the universe, and the place where they met was Delphi.
Welcome to Delphi, Indiana, where our storied past is fueling a stellar future.
Whenever and wherever human beings endure suffering and humiliation, sometimes we must interfere. When human lives are in danger, when human dignity is in jeopardy, wherever men or women are persecuted, that place must, at that moment, become the center of the universe.
I'm going to go on the record right now and say that they are trying to kill Rick Allen.
Yeah.
They want him to die.
Yeah.
It's like always like in and out, in and out. They don't want us to see it.
Because he's my size. Chains and collars and leashes all over.
It's all about optics. You don't have all of those people around Rick Allen because they want to keep everybody else safe. They don't want us to see Rick Allen. They don't want us to look at Rick Allen. They don't want us to see his face and his eyes. Remember when he came in June and he was all doped up and he was dissociative and he was experiencing psychosis from being tortured and starved and sleep deprived and probably withheld his medication. All of these things that they were doing to him so that he would show up looking like a zombie and couldn't protest or assist in his defense. Guess what? The eyes of the world are on them. They're not allowed to do that to him anymore, and they have tried to break him. And Rick Allen, he's not going to break. Look he has done a year in solitary confinement. A year.
He's on the upside of things. Like if he's still alive, he's getting better every day.
His attorneys get thrown off the case, and he turns to his wife and he says, "It's okay. You didn't break him. You're not going to break him. He's not guilty. Whatever they're trying to do, you're hip to it. It is not going to happen."
Do you have any idea what their defense is going to be, given the fact that the judge has basically taken away their defense?
Am I the only person in the world talking about attacking the timeline,
Do you have any idea what their defense is going to be, given the fact that the judge has basically taken away their defense?
Like, am I in crazy?
Challenge the timeline of the murders.
Talking about attacking the timeline.
What's the strategy today? Winning.
Whose motherfucking hair is that?
What's the strategy today? Winning.
The consensus has been challenge the timeline of the murders. Challenge the timeline of the murders.
Hey, crazy friends and crazy world. Man, what's going on? I feel like I
haven't really been able to follow a whole lot today. And I'm seeing a lot of stress in the chat. How's everybody feeling? How is everybody feeling? Are we stressed? I sent Bean a link. I don't know what he has going on or if he'll be able to join us, but he is invited. So if he can, he will. Not great. Extra tired, stressed, feeling kind of shit. Stressed and depressed. All right, y'all, let's talk about it. Where are you? Why does your hair look so beautiful? Boone and I moved. We spent the whole morning moving. I'm exhausted. But look at this little guy behind me. He doesn't really seem to be that stressed, and he's kind of like contagious, his naps and his like attitude. So, we're just chilling. He just ate, and now we're chilling. And should have moved. Should have moved. So, yeah, we're pretty tired, but we're pretty excited to be here. So, what did I miss? Oh, right. Well, okay. So we had maybe 2 major events occur in the past 24 hours. So understandable. Hope your move went well and your new space is amazing. It's going well. We're just a little sleepy, but we're happy. One of my dogs has a brother named Boone. No way. He's tuckered out for sure. Yeah. You'll probably start to hear him. Every day, fresh new hell. So I guess we should probably start with Wish TV, or I don't know. Has anybody seen a really good update? Andrea just tweeted. So court must be out. She didn't tweet about the case, but she did. Do a tweet. So clearly she's got her phone, so they must be out. Let's see. Should we do... Hi, Tor, it's good to see you. Hi, Edge. Hi, Mar. What a rough day. We're gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay, y'all. And I'm totally understanding and hearing the stress, and it's all right. It's okay. That's so sweet. Thank you for being here. I'm glad to see you. Hey, Steve. I did. I saw it on X just now as I was getting everything pulled up. I hope Angel is feeling good. It took we were scrubbing. Boone and I, we were on our hands and knees scrubbing. Hi, True Crime Jonathan. Good to see you. Ems is here. No, we're gonna be all right. Ems is here. Tor can't stay, but we love Tor and we're happy to see you, Tor, and I hope things are okay. You can only focus on one injustice at a time. I am having video issues. Am I having video issues? Is it anyone else having video issues? Because it could be something on my end. Hey, Marissa. Yes, absolutely. It's a safe space to admit how sad you are, how happy you are, how stressed you are. Boone is good, actually. He's a little too good. We just took a long walk, and he seems to like the space, so. Hi, Chelsea. Oh, no, Penny. They're on to you. They know what you've been doing, what you've been watching. You've been doing it, and you've been doing it justice. And they're like, you cannot be doing it justice on the clock. It's unacceptable for them to do that to you. I don't know, Kate. It's a good question. I'm not even sure where to start, but we're just going to start. with Max Lewis. He says, all the evidence that will be presented in the Delphi murders trial has been presented. Do we feel satisfied, y'all, with the evidence that has been presented in the Delphi murders case? Do we feel satisfied with it? Do we feel like we got all the answers that we needed and wanted after 7.5 years? Keith, welcome to the club. She has blocked me. So she blocked me on my personal account. She blocked me on the old Unraveling account. I'm pretty sure she blocked our Yellow Jacket Corn Dog Court. She hasn't blocked me on R&N. And I've tried to pick fights with her, and she's in the DMs, and she's always really nice to me, and it just irks me because I am not a fan of her take on this case or her tweets. And I tell her as much, and then she always responds very kindly, and then it makes me even angrier because I'm just like, the audacity, woman. Don't be nice to me when I'm trying to fight with you. It's like, God damn it. Yeah, they're going on like a Hi, Peggy. I did move. I think you missed the beginning. I did move. I probably need to adjust my microphone if the audio is bad. It's very echoey in here. I need to fill this room. But if it's bad, then let me know and I can try and fix it. What a wild. I want to go over jury instructions. We can do that. It's the room. Okay, if it gets like really annoying, I can tinker with some stuff. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So Michael Osbrook, who's a friend of all of us, back before the trial got delayed, when it was supposed to happen in May, Michael came on R&M and did a live with us. And we called the live the tenuous relationship between trials and truth. And the whole point of the live is, oh my, if you're hoping, I'm boring him. The whole point of the live is that the truth is not, and trials are not necessarily, nor are they often a conduit to like the whole story or the truth. A lot of times trials are just, I mean, imagine if all of the evidence could have been presented in this trial, like 90% of it couldn't even be presented. So I do think that after it's over, we already talked about we're gonna do a group project where we go on like a FOIA blitz, and we're gonna try and get our hands on some of the public exhibits, which are public anyway. Michael is he's a kindred spirit, and he's very sensitive, and he's very kind, and he's very grumpy and cynical. So he fits in really well here, and we love him for that. All right. Let's go to, oh, hey, BB. Oh, God, Hidden True Crime said, I think Dr. Martin's Indian, and I guess he is. What? What does that mean? They're wild. Let's see. Hey, Bron. I haven't heard from the Weird Cat, so. BB, have you heard from Weird Cat? Well, he's a psychiatrist. There are a lot of non-white doctors and psychiatrists in the United States. It's not really a, I wouldn't say it's like a shock to the system. So I'm not sure why. Right. Man, they are strange. Jason, does his last name start with a B? I'm not allowed. If it's who I'm thinking of, I'm not allowed to talk about him. I've already met my quota for life. I got in trouble. That's who I'm thinking. Ghost Funk. Okay, let's read the Wish blog. Full reporter's transcription of a court exhibit. I don't know what that means. I'm so tired of these full reporters. Huh? What are y'all talking about? Hi, Ina. Welcome. Hi, Lola. Lola, welcome. All right. We want to start at the beginning? We want to start in the morning? Probably, right? Because I have missed everything. So let's do it. At 9:07, after the jury entered the courtroom, the defense attorney grabbed Rosie and immediately said, "Your Honor, the defense rests. We're done. We're tired." State Prosecutor Nick McClellan requested a sidebar with the judge. Several witnesses were not available yet, so she dismissed the jury for a break. She then said she wanted to set jury instructions with the attorneys, including relating to the defendant not testifying in prior inconsistent statements. It was noted that Allen will not testify. The defense left to discuss the instructions in private and returned at 9:50. The courtroom awaited their return in total silence. McClellan chimed in and said the state had no objections to the instruction as proposed, but defense attorney Andrew Baldwin drew attention to instruction regarding if Richard Allen testified or not. The pool reporter noted that instructions about jurors not drawing inferences out of absences of testimony is different from passages he'd seen before, but he accepts the modified language. Rosie asked for time until the afternoon to finalize instructions relating to judging credibility of Allen's incriminating statements, whether they were voluntary or involuntary. Gold said she planned to give the jurors instructions before closing statements and will limit the argument lengths to 2 to 2.5 hours. 2 hours is a long time for folks to be sitting in these really uncomfortable chairs, Gold said. Is this bitch serious? Now she wants to give a fuck about the tookuses of her courtroom? Give me a break. Give me a break, madam. The judge also told attorneys that if they go over time, she'll, quote, kindly ask them to stop. Okay. Court was in recess at 10, right? Court went back into session at 10:25, and both sides approached the bench. The jury had not returned to the courtroom. At 10:52, the court went back into session, and the prosecution said their witness was ready to testify. The jury was seated at 11. Stacy Diener called their witness, Brianne Wilbur, to the stand. Diener asked Wilbur if she had a Snapchat photo of the Freedom Bridge taken on February 13th. Wilbur said she did. The photo was introduced as state's exhibit. Defense attorney Andrew Baldwin asked when Wilbur gave Diener the bridge photo. Wilbur said she didn't know exactly when she supplied it, but it was before her testimony earlier in the trial. The photo, taken in a sequence with others, indicates Wilbur arrived at the bridge at 12:25, according to News 8's Kyle Raswell. Wilbur said she walked from Freedom Bridge to Mountain High Bridge, but she did not see Bridge Guy or Abby or Libby on her walk. Baldwin said Wilbur had a good memory and asked her about remembering details of February 13th. Diener interjected and said that Wilbur was interviewed shortly after the murders. Huh? Wilbur was allowed to step down. Okay, yes, Twitch TV, give us nothing. Next, Brian Harshman, Westlaw Correctional Officer. Nope, definitely not. Brian Harshman is an ISP. I don't know what his rank is, but he's an ISP weirdo. He confirmed that Rick Allen had been a one-man cell at Westville, Wabash, and Cass County Jail. Harshman said that Allen has a chair in his cell in Cass County, that the cell is bigger than the one at Westville. Y'all, he's got a chair. He's got a chair. Thank goodness. Thank goodness for that. He told the court there's less human interaction in Cass County than in Westville and that Allen has no neighbors. Harshman also said that Richard Allen threatened the staff at Cass County. Difficult to hear? Are we having a hard time hearing y'all? If yes, please let me know. I can try and fuck with it. My room is very echoey, so. Dr. Martin, a licensed psychiatrist with 40 years of experience in corrections, was next to testify. Yeah, the echo, I don't really know what to do about the echo. I'm in a very empty room. Let's see. Is that any better or worse? Let me know. Okay. Martin said he started working at Westville as a third-party contractor. No, I'm using my external mic DB. I'm just in this room and it's empty. I have echo cancellation on. It is better. Okay, cool. I moved it. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Martin. He said he started working at Westville as a third-party contractor in February 2022. Began seeing Allen that November. He was stable. He had a history of depression, but he did not seem depressed. 3 weeks later, the doctor said Allen seemed fine again. When they met on November 24th, this should say 2022, 16 days after their first session, Allen signed a consent form for Prozac. Oh, okay, well, so that would be about a month after Allen was arrested. He was prescribed and taking Prozac when he was arrested, so it looks like they let Mr. Allen go about a month without his Prozac. Cool, good for them. That's great. He told the court he'd prescribe Allen medication and knew that Allen was on Prozac. Before arriving at Westville, he said he also had a record of when Allen took his meds because staff members would initial a certain log if he was successful. Martin said he would type up notes on his computer after meeting with Allen that the computer system was secure and no one else had access. At this point, the state introduced 2 exhibits, including records of medications ordered for Richard Allen and medication logs signed by staff. Martin said Allen was kept in, quote, what could be referred to as solitary confinement, and others would say a one-man cell. Dr. Martin can get bent and fuck all the way off, in my opinion, respectfully. He added that solitary confinement has punitive reason, while a one-man cell does not. There's no motherfucking difference. He added that solitary confinement has punitive reason, a one-man cell doesn't. Okay. Mr. Allen had not done anything wrong, yet he was being treated as though he had, or at least that's what he could have felt. Okay, that's fair. He said that the prison had a responsibility to keep him safe, and there were many meetings to make life more comfortable for him. Martin said he knew Allen had suicide companions and had expressed suicidal interests. This feels small to me. He also knew that Allen was sometimes moved to be seen by himself with Dr. Walla. He testified that he saw Allen again in April 2023 after he got a phone call that prompted him to visit Allen unplanned. Martin said he saw Allen lying naked on a cell mattress with feces on his body. He told prison staff he needed to see Allen, and they practically dragged him to his shower cell and gave him a gown, Martin recalled. Practically? They did drag him. They dragged him. The jury watched that video. Martin said it was at this point he decided that Allen was psychotic and that in order to treat his psychosis, he had to put him on an antipsychotic medication. Martin said he wanted to put him on Haldol, an antipsychotic commonly used to treat schizophrenia, but Allen's mental state was such that he could not consent to treatment. In order to give him Haldol without consent, Martin called Dr. Hayes, a regional psychologist with his contractor, and asked for an emergency meeting with 3 psychologists. Martin said that all 3 psychologists agreed he was psychotic, and he proceeded with the first treatment on April 14th, 2023. That's a lie. He got his first injection on the 13th. It was emergent because he was banging his head on his cell. He got an emergent dose of Haldol, and then they had a meeting the next day, and that's when they decided that they would be involuntarily medicating him. And yes, this was the secret meeting. Notice that they didn't contact his attorneys, even though they acknowledged that he could not consent. I don't know if he's changing his story or if this is the accurate story and Dr. Walla lied about the emergent medication, but either way, nobody's story is consistent. He testified that he gave Allen 5 milligrams of short-acting Haldol. The maximum dose is 100. Martin said he administered such a small dose because he wanted to make sure he didn't have a reaction. After that, he was injected with a 15 milligram dose of long-acting Haldol once every 4 weeks, with the first dose administered on April 18th, 2023. Bullshit. I don't believe this. Martin said that he saw Allen 1 week later and that he was still psychotic, but there was some improvement. Excellent. He's improving. He described the improvement as being no evidence of smearing feces. Oh. Allen recognized him, but he didn't know what day it was. So he's not smearing feces on his body, so he's improving. But he didn't know what day it was, which means he's still experiencing psychosis and or delirium. Okay, that's an interesting barometer for whether someone's improving or not, just because they don't happen to be. Martin told the court that Allen knew that he was in prison. He asked for his wife and for Taco Bell. He's so me for that, you know? Like, I get that, man. He just wanted to be comforted. There was also improvement in his coherence, his eating, and his sleeping. He said he believed that April 13th was the height of Allen's psychosis. Why? Because that's the day that Allen was most problematic and inconvenienced the DOC the most. That's the day that his psychosis inconvenienced the Department of Corrections the most, because that's the day that they had to clean his feces off of his body, which means he was a problem for them that day. So they're going to base their analysis and their assessment of his symptoms and how severe they are based on how annoying they are to them personally. That's what they're doing, just in case you were not aware. These fucking assholes, dude. 40 years in corrections says everything I need to know about Dr. Martin. He saw Allen several times in May. Each time he was coherent and there was no evidence of psychosis by the end. Oh, good. There's no evidence of psychosis in Mr. Allen by the end of May. So everything that we've seen, all the notes that we've seen, and all the videos that the jury has seen of Mr. Allen in psychosis. So if he's not in psychosis, why are they putting fucking black hoods over his head and dragging him around naked? throughout May and June. That's weird. On June 20th, Alan had gone 7 weeks without showing signs of psychosis. You know what we could do later is we could just pull up our notes and fact check all of this fucking nonsense bullshit. Do they think that this is going to make the jury like change their perception? Because the jury saw the videos. They were time-stamped. They know what they're talking about. And Dr. Polly Westcott, who's an actual professional, like, she knows what she's talking about. Yellow's notes contradict it. Walla's testimony contradicts it. Walla's testimony in the trial contradicts it. Dr. Polly's testimony contradicts it. The videos that they watched contradicts it. Like, this guy's a fucking clown. He saw him twice. He saw him once in November, or maybe twice in November. And then he saw him again in April, and then again in June or something. Like, get Martin said Alan told him on June 20th, quote, "I would like to apologize to the families of the victims," end quote. Of my victims, end quote. He told the court Alan was not psychotic at the time of the statement. That's not a confession. Yeah, because so many criminals who murder children are only concerned about the victims' families. Notice that in every single confession, he's only worried about apologizing to his family and to the victim's family. How did he say that to you, doctor? Did he put it in writing? These people are awful. I hope that they all, I don't know. It really makes me sad that people like this are working with vulnerable people. At 1:16, Judge Gohl returns to the courtroom. Defense attorney Brad Rosie begins his cross-examination of Dr. Martin, a licensed psychiatrist. Rosie tells the jury that Dr. Martin does not have a traditional bachelor's degree from an American university. Rosie says that Martin was terminated from a position in Florida. He's involved with lawsuits with a person that was in solitary confinement. Prosecutor. Started. Prosecutor Stacey Diener. Shut up. Calls for a sidebar, and Judge Gohl tells Rosie to, quote, "move on." Martin told the jury he went to Westville because there was a 200 to 250 case backlog. Rosie describes, oh, that's great. Rosie describes serious mental illness or severe mental illness. Diener objects. Why are they so obsessed with not letting the jury know what serious mental illness is? It's like the 5th time they've objected to like it being defined. It's so weird. Yes, post-punk, I believe so. Martin tells the jury that Alan could possibly, Diener objects. Martin says solitary can cause or exaggerate mental illness. Yeah, we know, Dr. Martin. Thank you. We've already heard that from an actual expert. Dr. Martin. So stupid. Oh, God. This is really, these mental health witnesses. Look at my dog right now. He's like a ragdoll. I hate the DOC mental health witnesses. They're like so villainous. All right. He says one of the meetings happened with Alan by speaking through his cell door. Dr. Martin did not watch camcorder or in-cell videos of Alan. The end. Because he didn't present with symptoms of psychosis in my office for the 5 to 10 minutes that I laid eyes on him, his symptoms had subsided. He's wearing the laundry. God. Where's USA Lib, man? Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a prosecuting. God, all of these monsters willing to lie and cover each other's disgusting behavior.
There he is. Ask and you shall receive. I love it. Hey, Kat. Who was it last night, DB, that we saw them in Andrea's chat and then we just mentioned their name and all of a sudden they were like, hello. It was amazing. Yeah, a lot of, actually, most of the witnesses in the state has called him fired. That's so true, Taylor. That is such a good point. I'm obviously spent today because I'm cackling already at all the dumb jokes. Oh God, he'll draw some. Well, not so good. They're so outrageous. Okay. He tells the jury Alan could possibly move in and out of psychosis. He says some of the meetings happened with Alan by speaking through the door. He did not watch any of the recordings of him. Martin tells the jury Alan could, I keep reading this thing over and over. God. We're doing okay, y'all. We're doing all right. Martin said on April 13th, 2023, Alan was, quote, very psychotic. He agreed. He said he agreed that Alan suffered from major depressive disorder and him believing he was unfairly incarcerated. Oh, Alan believing that he was unfairly incarcerated could make his depression worse. Martin tells the jury that he agrees he reported being concerned when Alan met with his lawyers. He said Alan told Dr. Walla that he thought one of his lawyers was a good cop and the other was a bad cop. Oh, did he? Did he tell Dr. Walla that? Dr. Walla is incredibly credible. So Martin says he has treated a pretrial detainee in prison and that had no criminal history before. Rosie shows Martin his previous deposition and Martin agrees that earlier he said he had not treated a pretrial detainee in prison before. So we lying. Why is everybody lying? Martin agrees that Alan's situation was unique to him. He tells the jury about working on a computer off-site at times. So you're not even in the physical facility. You're just filling scripts, checking boxes. 250 case backlog. They just need a body to check a box. They just need someone with kind of a license to check a box. It's unfortunate. It's not how it should be, but you know. Diener, of course, objects to that testimony. Martin describes an occasion where he administered medication to an inmate from Michigan City in Westville. He says he did not ask Alan if he had lawyers when he met with him in November 2022. He says the meeting was an interview and not a formal psychiatric visit. Huh? He didn't ask Alan if he had lawyers when he met with him in November 22. The November 2022 meeting was an interview and not a formal psychiatric visit. So what is that then? Just a conversation? Is it HIPAA protected? Why did you interview him in an unofficial capacity? Like a job interview? Like an interview at the Dunkin' Donuts after a woman doing an impossible empathy got yelled at? Like what kind of an interview are we talking about? So an official psychiatric interview is one where like so there's a patient-doctor relationship established. You're protected by confidentiality and HIPAA. The doctor that you're seeing has a duty and obligation to administer care. They're doing an evaluation, presumably for medication. Oh, thank you, Steve. Thanks, Steve and Angel. Thank you, Steve and Angel. We love you, Steve and Angel. It's very sweet. I don't really know what to make of this interview and not a... He administered medication to an inmate from Michigan City in Westville. So he was not his treating provider. Like, I guess oh, Chelsea, that made me happy. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I'm wondering what that, yeah, DV, say more. Guys, I mean, it sounds weird and they make a note to mention it. Jamie Gray asks a wonderful, fabulous, totally reasonable question. Shouldn't all of this be confidential? Yeah, Jamie, it should be. None of us should know a goddamn fucking thing about anything that occurs with his doctors or his psychiatrists. Unfortunately, Judge Gohl has allowed the state, the prosecutor, the state of Indiana in this case, to convert private conversations that Richard Allen has had with his medical providers into evidence using that little loophole in the Indiana rules that says if it has anything, if a patient makes a statement to a doctor and it has anything to do with what homicide investigation, then there's a loophole. He just gave somebody meds, to someone who wasn't even in the facility. Sir, you are trafficking a narcotic. Wow. All right. Dr. Martin is a quack. I was hoping that he wouldn't be, but he's a fucking quack. Oh, shit. Yes. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah. Ready? So Martin tells the jury it would be more confusing for someone in solitary if they had not done something wrong, which means that Rosie probably elicited that question. Rosie asks to play the video from June 20th, 2023, in which Allen said he wanted to apologize to the families. It's on video and audio? Why? Diener asked to review the video. The video is played. The reporter in the courtroom cannot see the screen and reports that Kathy Allen looks away. Gohl calls for a sidebar in the middle of the video playing. Diener begins again. These people are so fucking disruptive. Martin says that his conversation with Allen on that day was an interview. Another interview? It was an official interview, Dr. Martin? And that Allen was oriented. Editorial note, in control of his faculties is what he said. Okay, so he's not shitting himself and putting it on his body. That's what you mean. He says that Allen's statement about apologizing to the families was spontaneous. Martin says he does not remember if the interaction was recorded. How would it be recorded? How would this interaction be recorded? How would it be recorded? With a handheld or a stationary in the ceiling? Why are we recording confidential meetings with psychiatrists? Martin tells the jury he doesn't know why Allen's actions on June 20th seemed different than what he had recorded. So apparently the video that everybody watched is not in line. Whatever's happening in that video, it's not in line with what Dr. Martin. And this, my friends, is why the state of Indiana cannot win. Because they're trying to do a gaslight and a disinformation unto the jury. The problem is that they've already shown the jury video footage. So when Dr. Wallace says, oh, he was doing great that day, he was totally making sense, and he gave me a narrative confession that was logical and linear, and she writes it down as if he's telling her a story. And then an hour later, the jury gets to see a video from an hour later of that same day when he's banging his head into the cell and doing other bizarre things. That's not credible. You're a liar if you do that. Martin tells the jury he doesn't know why Richard Allen's actions on June 20th seemed different than what he had recorded, but he does not question his own records. He says he believes Allen had returned to his baseline by May 2nd. Dr. Martin says that he continued Haldol after Allen was no longer in psychosis because he didn't want it to reoccur. He says he never again had to have an emergency meeting for Allen after the first one in April. At 2:10, Rosie begins again. Martin tells the jury there was not anything to communicate that Allen couldn't have communicated spontaneously on June 6, 2023. These pool notes are fucking trash. Today, again, I don't know who they're sending in. I wish that they could just make sense. Great point, Mama Peggy. What baseline? He was on suicide watch immediately. But he wasn't depressed, so why'd you put him on suicide watch? To punish him? Number one, Did the oral Haldol continue after June 20th, 2023? Dr. Martin says yes. Number 2, what time did you meet with Alan on June 20th, 2023? Martin says early in the morning. Number 3, based on the video, could this presentation be consistent with faking? Dr. Martin says no. Number 4, is it possible for Alan to slip in and out of psychosis in a 24-hour period? Martin says yes. At 2:15 p.m., the state says it has no other rebuttal witnesses. Gold tells the jury, you have now heard all the arguments in this case. The jury exits. Defense attorneys revisit jury instructions. Yeah, I agree with Luke. A lot of this feels like they're just now doing damage control. They've given up on the case and they're just doing control. I don't necessarily think the jury is slipping. I think that we are getting the way that these questions are presented, depending on the source. Like I get a completely different vibe from the jury questions when I read them on like Wish TV or WTHR than when I get them from like Andrea or Peggy or Oksana or someone who's in the room. So I really think that these, so to be just my perspective, these questions are kind of like, they're watching a video. There's something on the video from June 20th, 2023 that is not consistent with what Dr. Martin is saying. And it sounds like they're fact checking him because he's lying. He has basically been caught lying on the stand. He said Alan was fine. He made a totally spontaneous statement about how he wants to apologize to my victims' families. And he was totally coherent and not at all psychotic. But the jury then watched a video from that day, like later on in the day, and he was very psychotic. And it sounds like they're trying to reconcile a professional doctor sitting on the stand lying to their face. I think that's what they're trying to do. They're really trying to look for alternative explanations other than this is yet another state witness with a license and the power to treat vulnerable people, and he's lying to our fucking face. That's kind of how I interpret it. Yeah, I agree with this too. Okay. Baldwin again brings up an offer of proof involving a man named Elvis Fields who's connected to the defense's Odinism defense. The state says this does not matter because the defense is rested. Andrew Baldwin says that he wants Fields addressed because he did not respond to a subpoena. Judge Bull says she already ruled that he would not testify. So Judge Bull gets to overrule a subpoena? Nice. So that's it. I don't know what pool reporter's transcription of a court exhibit means. I'd love to see it. What do we think, y'all? I don't know what to think. New posts, notifications. Dude, I fucking can't with Rafael Sanchez. I really can't. Like, I can't. Who the fuck is Bob? Who the fuck is everybody? Anybody know? Who the fuck they at? Oh my God, Husky. Oh my God. You know, this feels me. It's a great question. I think he can read because he corresponds with people on Facebook, like a lot. Becky said. I bet they're tired, probably a bit burned out. I don't think there's anything wrong with the questions. They're not going to be spunky and surprising as they were initially. I think they're fucking tired, y'all. I mean, we see it on everybody. Bob is live right now. Okay. That makes sense. They be at the bar. Rick was too psychotic to consent to medication. He likely also should have been found incompetent to stand trial. Both the judiciary and state have obligations to raise that, not just the defense. So incompetence to stand trial, but he's competent now. They've restored him to competency. And a competency challenge, I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. I think that he 100% has to be able to participate into his defense. The problem with the competency thing is that the prosecutor was almost like trying to trick the defense into raising a competency issue, because then they're entitled to his records, his mental health records, to assess his competency. And that's all they wanted from the beginning. So they basically pushed him over the edge into having a competency issue, and then they wanted to receive a benefit from his mental decline. So I think that it's probably a better thing. Oh, I totally agree with this. 1000%. This, I think, will be a serious component of any future investigation or litigation, because that is 100% an eighth. Like, that is a cruel and unusual punishment, to withhold hospitalization from somebody who's critically ill. I totally agree. And it breaks my heart, because Baston has written in his letters that when he was suicidal or engaging in self-harm, they put him in the, I don't know if it was like the medical or the infirmary or whatever, but they basically did a temporary hospitalization for him. Yeah. But it's just like insane that they had this meeting and his attorneys were not even made aware of it. It doesn't sound like, because Rosie filed his motion for continuing disclosure and his basically like a power of attorney kind of, I don't know the official. Exactly. And in the hospital, you get treatment. You're made comfortable and you get treatment. They started him as a code D, and the most severe code that can be assigned in Westville and DOC, or at least in that facility, is E. So he was almost the worst. And once you're code E, you are immediately and automatically transferred out of Westville and into one of the number of facilities that they have that have a designated like mental health unit where they are equipped to deal with severe mental health issues. Yes, totally. Yeah, it's risky for sure to go that route. I'm not gonna play Bob because I don't know. I'm like really weird. I'm like just like very paranoid about playing. I just don't want anybody to like. I don't want to offend anybody when I'm streaming, so I'm not gonna play his stream. But if anybody goes over there and wants to or sees any updates on X, I'm gonna keep looking. Uh-oh, y'all want to read a Courtney tweet? She's got emojis. USA Lib, they have a very, yes, they have a protocol, and that protocol was established in part, or a lot of components of the protocol was established because they were sued by the Indiana Protection Advocacy Services, IPAS. They were sued, and a class action lawsuit was launched against IDOC. And as a result of that lawsuit, a stipulated settlement was entered into, and the DOC had to implement policies for inmates with a serious mental illness. And they totally neglected to implement any of the policies. They did not apply a single one to Mr. Allen, unfortunately, which is very sad. And their reasoning for doing that is because I know, a bear cub is, he does look like a bear cub. He's pretty happy. He's snoring like a little dramatic. It's bananas to me that these people can lie with such confidence. Testimony is complete in the Delphi murders trial, and closing arguments are set for tomorrow. Both sides get 2 to 2.5 hours. The jury could begin deliberations tomorrow. It's pretty cool. That's so me. He's all of us. Bob is all of us. Rick is all of us. We're all just about some Taco Bell and chill, you know? Why didn't they do this to the guy who confessed to his sister? Is it because he was an old local but Rick wasn't born and raised there? Honestly, I think that there's probably layers to this and numerous, you know, we have like competing interests a lot of times. I think in this case, the tragedy is that there were like numerous interests layered on top of interests that all kind of like supported and fed one another. And a lot of people derived a lot of personal benefit and gain from an easy arrest that didn't really open them up to too many questions. I don't think the investigators wanted this crime to reflect negatively on them as a community. I don't think they wanted the world to know that they have a extremist, violent group cult problem in their county. They needed it just to kind of go away. That's what I think. They don't want the world thinking that Carroll County is a cesspool of child perverts, Odinists, white supremacists, arsonists, and all of the above. Holy cow, Baldwin asked for an arrest warrant for Elvis Fields. Did he get it? Because he didn't respond to the subpoena, right? It's an arrestable offense. Let me guess, Judge Gold is going to personally protect Elvis Fields from that. Are you hearing that on Bob's, Luke? That's interesting. They're probably going to solve this thing, you know. They're gonna free Rick, and then hopefully these murders can be solved. These are not stupid guys. They're not dumb. They're not chasing irrelevant, you know, rabbit holes and red herrings for the fuck of it. They're basing their investigation still on the evidence that they've received in discovery and the evidence that they've obtained on their own and the investigation of the men who Judge Gull has deemed, you know, their life work to be incredible, uncredible, non-credible. I don't watch Bob as much as I love him. It's the WTHR notes. Okay, switching over. Courtney is having an absolute conniption over these. So as frustrated as all of us are, knowing that they're lying, the psychiatrists are all lying, the psychologists are all lying. Imagine, so Courtney is getting ready, is probably going to rip all of the hair out of her head by the time this case is over, because she was in the room for those 3 days of hearings. Hi, Quark. Can we go through it? I mean, I read it a little bit on the Wish blog, but it left a lot to be desired. Oh, you mean his lying liar, lying sin? So I interpreted the jury questions. You want to come on? You can come on. I figure you're probably working, but I am going to send you a thing anyway. So I kind of interpreted It's updated just now. Hi, Sleuthy. Oh my God, all of our friends are here. They updated it since we looked at it. Didn't we just look at it together? Refresh that hoe. Okay. Let's refresh the hoe. I mean, I know he lied. He lied a lot. And all the dates were wrong. I think we read it already. Yeah, we did do a rant and determined that, oh wait, nope, here we go. Here we go. Is this what you mean, Quark? Here we go. The following is a direct transcription of an exhibit shown to the media today after court. Good for whoever wrote this down verbatim. It is a psychological evaluation of Richard Allen prepared by Dr. John Martin on June 20th, 2023. Seriously, whoever wrote this down verbatim in the media pool, whatever. Oh, the part below. I read this part already, Quark. Yeah, I read this part. Okay, so I'm gonna read it. This morning, the patient was interviewed in an interview cell. He had been wearing a uniform when he was taken to the cell, but chose to take it off and was in a t-shirt and boxers. He's not psychotic, guys. He's doing fine. He stripped down to his skivvies in the interview. Several contusions on his face that have been self-induced are no longer as prominent. Eye contact was poor. He spoke very softly, but also very briefly. He kept asking for Dr. Walla. He was coherent and spoke without loose associations or flight of ideas. He was oriented to person, place, time of day, and situation. He has a constricted, editorial note, difficult to read his word, probably constricted affect, restricted affect, maybe. He said that he had suicidal ideations. He did not want to talk too much. What he did talk about was his concern for his wife. He said he wanted to apologize to the families of his victims. He is eating his meals. He's keeping himself clean. A renew of the log shows that he's getting an adequate amount of sleep and is eating most of his meals. He has been meeting with Dr. Walla for therapy sessions and is due to see her in a few minutes. He was not consistent in taking his oral medications, and so it was discontinued. He will continue on Prozac. I am discontinuing the Haldol today. In general, he's much improved and does not appear to be psychotic at the present time. He claims to be suicidal. He is continued on suicide watch. He will be interviewed again in 2 weeks. He was wearing his uniform and then he stripped down to his boxers. You're right. He said he was going to discontinue the Haldol so that it didn't reemerge, right? So there's the letter. So now let's see what a liar he is. Whatever video Rosie played from this day when Dr. Martin wrote this note. Yeah, exactly, Matt Sullivan. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Fuck this guy, Matt. Fuck this guy and fuck Walla. Fuck these people. Clearly something in that video on whatever that video is from is not congruent with what Dr. Martin is saying about Rick in this. For him to say that he is fine. Let me find his stupid lying liar mouth. he decided to stop them. Didn't he say that he continued them? On June 20th, he had gone 7 weeks without showing signs of psychosis. That math is not really mathing for me. But didn't he say something about he didn't want? Oh, look, he continued. Okay, so why did he continue it for 7 weeks? I guess is what he's asking. Here we go. What, Cork? Yeah, he continued it after the 7 weeks, I guess, where he said he was not psychotic for 7 weeks. And so I guess the question was like, so why did you continue it? It's like, well, I didn't want it to come back. We have gotten so many conflicting statements and so much contradictory information about. Yeah, Dr. Polly said that she has records and recordings of Rick every single day that he was in Westville, every single day. And the defense had to fight really hard to get all of that footage. Trying to lie to a jury about things that they saw with their own eyes. Sound familiar? That is this whole case. Yep. But these jury questions, I think they see that too. Wait. The oral Haldol. So he only stopped the injections. Oh, good. My nurse is here. 30-day shots, PRN shots, and nightly oral dosing. That is too much fucking Haldol. I'm so angry. I don't know what to do with myself. I just am hoping. I mean, I really think that the what was I gonna say? Richard Allen had a serious heart attack in 2010 and was taking daily 2 cardiac medications. I don't know if one was like a beta blocker. I don't remember what they were, but he was taking 2 daily heart meds and Prozac daily before he was arrested. And I honestly think a lot of this testimony, I think Luke said it earlier. So I really don't think, like, if they get a conviction, I almost feel like it would be more trouble for the state than just him being acquitted and then moving on. Because if he gets a conviction, then he goes back, what? He goes back to DOC? Well, the DOC is under investigation. So how's that going to work? I don't think that they necessarily even want that. I think that this is a cover their ass for all of the fucking damages that they're probably going to be liable for. Cork, you mean Dr. Martin said no? Well, so the oral Haldol, he said, I stopped the injections, I think is what he means. But like, you're still administering oral Haldol. So you didn't stop them. And the jury caught that. This is what I'm saying about this jury. They're smart. The pool notes are not really a good record of what's going on inside. They use semantics, exactly. And they use vague, non-specific wording to basically, or they just lie outright. But the jury is onto that. They see it. They said, did oral Haldol continue after June 20th? And he says, oh, yeah. Okay. What time did you meet with Mr. Allen on June 20th? And he says early in the morning. So I imagine that something fucked happened later in the day, or the video that they watched from June 20th happened later in the day. Based on the video, could this presentation be consistent with faking? So we established whatever they watch in the video, it's psychotic behavior because Kathy looks away, and I fucking hate that she had to be in there and that she had to see it, whatever it was. But Kathy looks away, and the jury says, could this behavior that we're watching be somebody faking it? And he's like, no. Okay, so he's not faking it. He's psychotic. And you want the jury to think that you slip in and out of psychosis within... Yeah, so this is the thing. Can you slip in and out of psychosis in a 24-hour period? And he says, yes. You can... Your psychotic behaviors, right? You can go into delusion and delirium, and out of delusion and delirium, your psychotic behavior. Some people are more their symptoms are worse in the day versus at night versus when they eat versus when they get their medication. Like, this is not a honest answer. They didn't do a good enough job explaining what that means. You can't just go in and out like, oh, I'm fine this morning when I made the confession. I'm totally fine and not at all psychotic. And then a few hours later, I'm doing whatever they're doing. Outrageous. He slipped out of it during the confessions, and then he slipped right back into it. How convenient. They needed to end. I think they had everything they needed. The state wasn't ready and I don't know that they were shocked. That's just what the media is saying, but the media lies. Let's see what like the people we trust said. I mean, maybe they were shocked. I'm sure the judge and the prosecutor were shocked. I think the judge was probably surprised and the prosecutor was unprepared. The jury, maybe they were surprised, but Bob Mata said they were mouthing well. Did they bring up anything about something being plugged in? Not today, I don't think. They didn't need any more witnesses. They can tie it. Yeah, I think the closing argument, like, Andy is very good. I suspect it'll be Andy at least. I mean, he is good. How much more, and the closing argument from the state should be interesting, considering they've been lying to this jury for fucking weeks. Oh, I was going to pull up. I think Luke said WTHR had a different. Kathy testified today. Sorry, life has been busy. Totally fine, Blue Otter. Glad you're here. That's why we do this. So you can pop in and out, do your life, do a life. But no, Kathy did not testify, and nor, I don't know that, I doubt that I don't know why everybody kept saying Kathy would testify. That feels really, really close to Rick testifying. You know, I don't think a spouse, because they can't force her to. The state can never force her to. But I don't really think that Kathy, I don't see that benefiting the defendant. I just see that as just opening her up to being abused and maligned and bullied, and the fucking sick prosecution twisting their words around. But yeah, I'm kind of glad she didn't. I feel like probably just being there was hard enough, but you know, I bet she would have in a heartbeat if it was what would help Rick. But it sounds like the defense doesn't really feel like they need it. The state not being ready for rebuttal is exactly the way the whole investigation has been, disorganized, chaotic. They're reactive. They're so reactive. Wasn't the defense waiting on a decision for prisoner transport? I think that, yeah, I agree with this. They really, yeah, I think that, I especially think that Andy, something Andrea said last night or maybe the night before, at one point, like, because Andy will kind of like glance over at the jurors when like one of the state's witnesses says something like outrageously dishonest or like ridiculous, and he'll just kind of be like, you know, are you guys seeing this? I feel like they have a good vibe of what the jury, yeah. I thought closings were today. Now they're tomorrow. I think the problem with Kathy being an alibi for Rick is that the state has made this absurd, impossible, outlandish timeline where it wouldn't matter if Kathy said that she got home at 5 and Rick was there and they ate dinner together and spent the whole night together and evening together and woke up together in the morning. It wouldn't matter because the state's timeline almost makes it impossible for anyone to alibi the man because he was just going about his business, going about his life, living his life. I think a lot of the reason the defense has not fought for a lot of the witnesses we wanted to see is because the judge is outrageous. She's outrageous. And I think they're just trying to kind of cut their losses. They don't need it. Look at what they've been able to do to the state's case just with what they've been allowed, right? What she hasn't prevented. Imagine if they could present all the evidence. It's Judge Jessica in here. I'm doing a tongue twist again. It's Ashley in here. To be fair, the defense were denied the opportunity to present other witnesses. Yeah, I agree totally, Reva. Absolutely. They would have loved to call all of their witnesses. They would have loved to have Kevin Murphy, who would have been a wonderful witness to speak to a lot of different things, the investigation, the evidence. They have the jury right where they need them. I still think if I were a juror and I made a decision of guilt or innocence, and then I completed my jury duty and went about my life and I was free to Google and research and deep dive into the case that I had just sat on for all those weeks, and I see that there's a 138-page fucking Frank's memo with evidence that I was never allowed to see, I would be pissed. I'd be pissed. I'd be really upset. Let's see if WTHR reported anything different and wish. "10 a.m. the defense just rested." Oops. That's what I'm saying, Judge Jessica. Kevin Flirty. Oh, we gonna get a juror. We gonna get a juror up in here.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Karen Campbell. We start with breaking news.
Stop,
in the
Karen
Delphi murder
Campbell.
trial, we've learned just moments ago the defense has rested
Why do I
their
make you
case. Our
stop?
13 News team is in the courtroom.
I did
want to head
not
over now to see
consent to a video. Okay. I don't really care about Brie. Does anyone care about Brie Wilbur? Probably, right? You want me to read all of it? I guess I could. Dr. Martin. The state called Dr. Martin, a psychiatrist who treated Alan in prison. Alan was an inmate and a patient at Westville who got psychiatric services from Martin. I think the strategy is they save a lot of their appeal issues just in case, because if they keep trying to push for more evidence or third party, they might get something in that's not actually all that consequential. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Martin began working at the Indiana DOC in 2020. He has 40 to 55 years of expertise providing psychiatric services to inmates. Where? Where, Dr. Martin? Let's look up his CV after this for funsies. Beginning July 7th, 2020, he's working 40 hours with IDOC and 20-hour work week for Illinois DOC. How are you working? So you're working a 60-hour week? That's healthy. How about that witness cutie, Mr. Baker, for an interview? The chat liked him. I'll interview Mr. Baker. It would be my pleasure to interview Mr. Baker. Where's Hammy? George Jessica says, oh my God, yes, let's dive in. God. Cork, same. Acquit or bust. I agree with this too. I think that it's for the same reason I think it's a good thing that Brittany, his daughter, is not present in the courtroom. It would be probably really triggering and really upsetting for him and her. So, Mr. Baker. Mr. Baker? Are you spoken for, Mr. Baker? Good. Fuck him. That's our bulldog. That is our expert pick-aparter bulldog. BB is triggered. Yeah, he can't even do it. He's fucking up the what, yellow? Angela, read the article. Okay. He took over once per week on Tuesdays. He's their Tuesday guy. Dr. Martin, the Tuesday guy. Martin said he met Alan in November 2022. He was a contract employee, not an IDOC employee. After meeting with Alan and other inmates, he returned to his office at a prison medical building to write notes in a computer system. Matt. God. Martin says that Alan came to Westville on Prozac and he continued him on that because Alan was stable. Actually, Alan came in on Prozac and then Dr. Martin had to write him a script for Prozac because it doesn't look like he was getting his Prozac from the time he was arrested until like November 23rd. It's a whole month. Somebody with severe major depressive disorder and a history of depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation in the past. And why are we going a month without his Prozac? Whatever. Doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but it is what it is at this point. Martin said the prison medical staff notes which days Alan takes medicine and which days he refuses medicine. One exhibit presented was Martin's notes written about Alan showing his treatment. Another exhibit was a medication log and charts showing what medicines were prescribed for Alan. Somebody who's been consistently medicated, taking medication as an adult who wants to be stable and healthy and well, who's been taking medication every day consistently, has good medication adherence and compliance. If they're just refusing to take their medication, I happen to suspect that Mr. Allen's psychosis began way sooner than April 1st when they all of a sudden realized that they have a crisis on their hands. There were fucking signs there. Like when Alan all of a sudden says that he took God into his life and he's all about the Bible. And this man's never been religious in his life. And please don't come in here saying, oh, but lots of people find God in prison. This man was being tortured. Tortured. And all of a sudden he finds God. But he's also paranoid about his Bible. He's flushing his Bible down the toilet. He is psychotic. And it started way earlier than they want people to believe. Because in December 2022, he's telling Dr. Walla and he's telling his wife and his attorneys that they are mistreating him in DOC. Yes, 100% that. And worse. Especially if you have a underlying predisposition or risk. If you're at risk, you have you have risk factors for psychotic features or psychosis. Because Rick Allen's diagnosis is major depressive disorder with psychosis. It's not good to just abruptly discontinue shit with anybody who has a vulnerable mental health, let alone somebody who is vulnerable to slipping into psychosis. Rosie says there were lots of initials on the second exhibit from other medical staff. The prosecutor responded, the jury will hear about the other initials. The state asked about Alan's safekeeper status and the difference between statuses. Martin said Alan was kept in prison in solitary to keep him safe. The state asked if Martin has experience treating people in safekeeper status. He responded that he only has experience treating safekeepers in general population, not solitary confinement. So he's in, okay. So he's in solitary confinement because of his safekeeper status, but you just said that you've never had a safekeeper status person in solitary. The jury's not gonna, just like we're putting this shit together, they're not going to, this is not gonna get lost on them, I don't think. They're very sharp. Watch them deliberate and like, never mind, I'm not gonna say that. Don't say that, Angela. What the fuck's wrong with you, Angela? Call this man Mufasa. What does that mean? Oh, they'll hear all about those other initials. How about you just fucking tell, why don't you just tell now? Oh my God, Freckle Joy, that was so kind and appreciated and not at all necessary, but very much appreciated. And I'm so glad that you're here and that you don't hate me. Why does it keep doing that? I'm not consenting to these videos just auto-playing. It's like I'm reading too slow for it. Thank you, Freckle Joy. I'm glad you're here. It was really very sweet of you. We don't know what they're writing down, though, what they're hearing and remembering. The jury, you mean. It's so mutual. It is so mutual. Good gravy. Freckles. Walla's not Indian. Yeah, she's a an ad blocker, Ange. DB, help her get it on Black Origin and Firefox. It's because I'm not like logged into my, I don't know. It's like not my computer. It's like a kind of a shared computer right now. It's not, but it kind of is. Or I'm telling myself it could be. So I'm not taking the time to personalize it. I just need to do all the things. There's a lot of things I need to do. I'm gonna start doing the things I need to do after this. Don't worry, guys. We're gonna be all right. You want to talk about Harshman? I think we're done with him, right? No, we're not. Not even close. Dr. Martin says there's an insinuation that solitary confinement means an inmate has done something wrong. Mr. Allen had not done anything wrong, and yet he was treated as if he had done something wrong, and that's not right, Martin said. Well, no shit. The state asked Martin if he has experience working with inmates in solitary. He said yes. He said he had many meetings with the warden, medical staff, and prison attorneys and others in order to do what they could do to make life a little more comfortable for Allen while he's in prison. We did what we could to make him safe. Oh, you had a lot of meetings? You had a lot of meetings with a lot of people about Mr. Allen? You're having all these meetings about you. That seems like this computer situation sounds sus. It's not shared with anybody. Like it's more of like, no, it's not. I mean, it's a sweet thought, but that's not really the vibe here. DB does love Harshman. I'm gonna start doing the things. Hi, Emerald Wonderland. I'm glad you're here. What's she on my? I'm on Chrome. I'm on Chrome, y'all. Come on. Maybe. I didn't say that. It's complicated. Facebook status is complicated. Why are they having so many meetings? That sounds like a lot of staff burden. It sounds like it might just be easier to put them in county. Sounds like you are expending a lot of resources and staff to keep this 5'4" little man safe. So why don't you just move him? Sounds like you all are voyeurs and y'all want to be involved in Hannibal Lecter doing a visit in your facility. That's what I think. I think that all of these people are perverts. Having said that, let's keep reading because we're about to get to DB's favorite pervert. Harshman. Martin said that he saw Alan in his cell and sometimes out of his cell. He said Alan came out of his cell for recreation and make phone calls. Rosie asked if Marmon. Yo. Am I going like too fast? Martin only met with him between 13 and 18 times, and Martin said yes. Martin then talked about a November 8th, 2022 assessment of Mr. Allen. He said that he asked Allen a few questions and he did a mental exam. He was stable, adding he did not see depression or anxiety. What? Oh, I'm going to start sweating. No, I'm going to start sweating again. He did a mental exam. That's cool. That sounds so, oh my God, Dr. Martin, you did a mental exam? That sounds fun and groovy. Did this mental exam have a name? You absolute fucking clown, buffoon motherfucker. Did this mental exam have a name? Was there a name for this mental exam, or was it just a mental exam? I'm not going to make it, woman. No, don't. I cannot start with this. It derails me. It derails me. He did a mental exam. He just did a mental exam, and despite his long documented history of depression and anxiety, I didn't see anything wrong with him. I didn't see anything about depression or anxiety. Everything seems fine on November 29th. On January 24th, 2023, Martin said he saw Alan and he needed him to sign consent for medications. Informed consent was important to him. Yeah, that's the law. Alan signed it. He said since Alan was doing well in January, protocol would allow him to see him again in April. Okay. He saw Alan unexpectedly earlier in April due to a call from the prison. Who called you, Dr. Martin? Who called Dr. Martin? Who called Dr. Martin? Dr. Martin, who called you? Name him or her. Name them. Who called you, and what was the nature of the call, and what was the content of the call, and what was the ask? What information was communicated to you, and what was the ask? Did Dr. Marmon? Oh God, Dr. Marmon. Stop. Okay. He shouldn't have been signing dick. Y'all made him insane. That's right. Sure fucking did. On April 13th, 2023, Dr. Martin said he was met by a warden. So the warden called him. Okay, so he was met by the warden, Gallipoo, and he looked into Alan's cell where... How long did it take Dr. Martin to get there? Let's unpack this, because I don't know about y'all. I have fucking time today. Let's unpack this. I've got time. So Dr. Marmon gets a call on April 13th to wherever he was. We know he often worked remotely. We don't know if he was working remotely, but he wasn't on site or whatever. So he got a call. Or maybe he was on site. He gets a call from the warden. Comes to where Alan is. Has to go through all the answer's always Google. Has to go through all the security to get into the restricted housing unit, which, as we know, is a pain in the dick. Even to get into the restricted housing from other parts of the prison, it's a pain in the dick. He gets there. Him and the warden take a look. They take a little look-see into Alan's cell. Hey, come look at this. And he's like, hey, warden, come take a look. Or, hey, doctor, come take a look at this. Okay. So they peek into Alan's cell and they see him lying lying naked on a mattress. Martin says feces was smeared on Alan and he appeared to have eaten it. Officers dressed him and took him to a shower and washed him. He was then given a new gown and taken to a room with Martin for assessment. Martin says his conclusion from that meeting was that Alan was psychotic. He said he gave Alan an antipsychotic medication to treat it. Martin was asked if Alan had a fair understanding of the situation and made the decision in his best interest. Martin said Alan's insight was insufficient and his judgment was impaired, so he decided to give him a drug despite his inability to give consent for the antipsychotic. He's a pretrial detainee. He's a pretrial defendant with legal counsel representing him. So if he is psychotic, do you not have, like, I don't know, Brad or Andy's fucking phone number? Don't you think it might be important to run that by his counsel if he's incapable of making decisions for himself? He's not a convicted inmate. He's not your fucking property yet. He never will be, but he was certainly wasn't here. He wasn't one of your fucking inmates. He's fucking visiting. You're hosting this man. You are the fucking host. You're not in charge of him. You don't get to punish him and make decisions about his medical and mental health care without consulting with him or a proxy, i.e. his wife or his attorneys or whoever the fuck that would be at the time. If you didn't take the time and do the due diligence to assign or find one, then you need to do that. That's probably your fucking fault and your problem. And you can't just, this is what I want to know. Sleuthy, I'm glad you're here. Do you think, based on what we've seen in these motions and letters and timelines that we've made, is anyone in here, do we think that Brad and Andy were notified about this April 13th incident and subsequent April 14th top secret doctor hearing where they made a decision about his involuntary medication? Do we think that Brad and Andy were notified of that? And do we think that they were given, if so, were they given sufficient notice to attend, as is their right, the policy? Yeah, I don't think so either, y'all. That's a problem. Nick did know. He knew the morning of, in fact, and he filed a nice little motion and backdated it appropriately. And then Judge Gold filed a nice little order and backdated that appropriately too. Everybody knew about it but the attorneys. And then Nick went on to say, they decided that he was doing just great. He didn't need to be involuntarily medicated, and he also didn't need to be transferred out. He was doing fine. In fact, his behavior improved and he went right back to normal. Yeah. Martin said that he called the regional director from Centurion to have an emergency meeting the next day. Martin said 3 psychologists in that meeting agreed that he was psychotic. End of discussion. What else is there to talk about? If you're trying to say that he made confessions during this time, you're off your fucking chair. Are they crazy? This man has been diagnosed as psychotic as early as, I mean, his behaviors were, he got suicide companions reassigned or something. I mean, the warden wants to say April 1st. Well, then you can't say April 1st and then say that he was fine until April 13th. Like, no. Walla was one of them. Walla was one of the 3 who determined that he was psychotic. I just don't think she knows what that means. I agree. It's insane. In what Martin described as Alan's height of psychosis, he said Alan got a low dose of short-acting injectable Haldol April 15th. Oh, so now we're getting all of the information. So he got his first injection of long-acting Haldol on the 18th, but they had given him not funny. Dr. Walla, Dr. Walla, Dr. Martman, and Dr. Martman. I keep saying Marmot. Why? Dr. Walla, Dr. Martin, and Dr. Holman. It's not Marmon. It's Martin. It's not Marmon. I'm pissed, y'all. So they're just fucking hiding they're playing fucking hide the ball here. He's saying, oh, I gave him his first injection on the 18th of April. No, you gave him his first long-acting injection on the 18th of April, but he got a short-acting emergent dose on the 13th, another one on the 15th, apparently, and then a long-acting one on the 18th. And then on April 25th, Martin said Allen still seemed psychotic, but he's noticing improvements, such as not smearing feces, noticing Martin as a doctor asking for his wife improved speech and eating meals. It's a pretty low bar, Dr. Martin. On May 2nd, Martin said Allen seemed improved. He was coherent and denied hallucinations. There's no evidence I could see of psychosis. He didn't show any symptoms or signs on May 8th. Reasonable sleep, no hallucinations, eating most of his meals. And by the way, he's going to therapy. Oh, we know he's going to therapy. We know. Yes, Lola, we are, for sure. Oh my God, that sounds really good. Oh God, so stupid. Oh my God. May 23rd and May 30th, no evidence of psychosis. But on June 20th, Martin decided not to give him any additional Haldol injections. In closing, Allen said to me, I would like to apologize to the families. Is that what he said? During cross, defense Rosie had a sidebar. The defense, okay. I want to see Rosie rip this guy to fucking shreds. But we don't get to see it, so that's cool. Harshman. The state recalled witness Brian Harshman, an Indiana State Police Master Trooper. Hooper Scooper. I don't know what Kevin means. I don't think it means anything. I said it one time. Oh, wait, you know. I think you were here for it. I can't tell if you're serious. It was just a misspeak. I meant to say prison. Oh my God. I don't know why this is my trigger word. It sets me off. I cannot regulate. No, Ems, I meant to say prison. No. Control yourself. Get a hold of your shit. Get a hold of yourself. Courtney. I thought you were here for it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Close chat. All right. Indiana State Police Master Trooper Pooper Scooper Brian Harshman. McClellan contended that Allen was in the same type of one-person cell at Westville Correctional Facility, Wabash, and County, saying Cass was a little bigger. Harshman said there was no opportunity for Allen to have more interaction with people in Cass than Westville. He said that Allen loved communicating with This man did not just say Allen loved communicating with his neighbors in Westville. This man did not just say Allen loved communicating. Are you in here, Courtney? Is DB in here? Did this man really just say Mr. Allen loved communicating? He really loved that. He liked communicating with his neighbors at Westville. Oh, you mean the inmates that were screaming at him to kill himself and that he was a baby killer? Is that what you mean? Those neighbors? I fucking hate this guy. Every day, I hate these people more and more. He really liked it. He loved communicating. He really likes that. McClellan asked if there have been issues with Allen in Cass County, and Harshman responded that Allen made threats to staff. Rosie objected, leading to the testimony being stricken. These motherfuckers are like, we're going to do a press conference. We're going to do a press release, whether you like it or not. We're going to do a press release. We're doing a press release. You just had to get that in there in front of the jury because you know that she's going to stricken it. But it's all right. You want the world to know that he's a monster, that he's violent, he's threatening. Good. Oh, the state recalled this bitch again. I'm sure she's not a bitch. She's probably fine. Brianne Wilbur asked her about the photos. On cross-exam, her memory was questioned, and Wilbur said police focused on the end of her walk. All right, cool. Shortly after 9, Judge Francis Gull entered the courtroom with the jury entering a few minutes late. Wait, did I skip? Yeah, I did. Okay. No, I didn't. Your Honor, the defense rests. We already read that part. What is happening? Oh, I just missed this. Okay. Back to Rosie skewering Martin. Rosie's cross-exam of Martin continued. He noted how Martin was terminated from his job in Florida and involved in lawsuits involving people in solitary confinement. But it's not really solitary confinement. It's really more of just, a single person cell, single person existence. He loved to communicate with prisoners who weren't supposed to be communicating with him. I've been saying it for minutes. Gull asked Rosie to move on from discussing Martin's background. I can't wait until this trial's over. And Gull, I just can't wait till it's over for Judge Gull in particular. Rosie asked Martin if someone with a serious mental illness includes someone with major psychosis. Martin said yes. Martin said he didn't watch the videos of Alan in his cell and he didn't have contact with him between January and April, which he said during that time, Walla would be better to make observations and assessments. Yeah, she would. Sure, she would. Rosie played a video from Westville from June 20th, 2023. The video was visible to 2/3 of the courtroom and showed Alan's chest secured. He was handcuffed at the waist and undergoing a medical exam. In the video, Alan's face is expressionless, showing no emotion. He's dazed and he's staring as his head falls to his left shoulder. Johnson noted that Alan started tearing up while watching the video in court, and some of his family members were heard crying as well. Rosie said the video is 21 minutes long, but Gull allowed the video to be played for a few minutes. Rosie asked Martin to confirm if the same man in the video is Richard Allen. Martin said yes. During the state's redirect, Martin confirmed that he had a conversation with Alan on June 20th, and Alan was oriented. The jury asked Martin at what time he met with Alan on the 20th. I don't remember, early morning. He didn't faint that day. Nor was under psychosis that day. Gull then told the jurors, "You've heard all the testimony in this case." Gull instructed the jury that they must not consider Alan not testifying as a factor in their decision. Defense attorney Andrew Baldwin asked for an arrest warrant for third-party suspect Elvis Fields. I want Mr. Fields to be on the stand, answer some questions, and see what he says. Who knows what he might say? The court is in recess. What do we think? Do we really think that Judge Gull is going to issue it? Probably not. Hey, y'all, I'm going to take the boon out really quick. We're going to go fast, and then we'll be back. It's 5:37. We'll go a little bit longer, and then we'll do our Andrea stream. And I can stream it with audio tonight as long as it's not too echoey. Y'all let me know. What happened, DB? Yeah, that was really disturbing, that video. So Andy is a Chad. Okay, BRB, y'all. I will be right back. I don't have anything planned. I don't have any videos to play, so my lash appointment is the same time. Ask her if we can listen. Okay. That sounds nice. Okay, bye. I'll be right back. Judge Jessica just made me laugh so much. I just found out last night where Indiana is. I thought it was Ohio. You know, I have like object permanence issues. Like if I'm to, let's say, type in a 5-digit like PIN code, like enter your, I don't know, if like my bank or like YouTube or whatever texts me a code to log in and it's like 5 digits, I have to return to the text a lot because I forget. It's an object permanence thing. I feel like I have an object permanence issue with the Midwest. Like all of the Midwestern states kind of just like blend together to me in this blobby mass. And I just can't, no matter how much I study a map or how many times I visit said states, I cannot ever seem to work out the Midwest in my mind. Gold does not care if people ignore subpoenas. She doesn't care if the state leaks protected discovery. She doesn't care if they violate her protective order over discovery. Judge Gold doesn't care if the state violates discovery rules or evidence rules. She doesn't care about a whole lot, to be honest. She doesn't really care about anything except for like McClelland's ding dong, apparently. That's about it. Indiana has a wrongful conviction fund, $50,000 per year, free counseling, but that's just if he's wrongly convicted. Doesn't include any potential lawsuits. Yeah, her decorum orders. What about this, y'all? So what if I'm gonna schedule our Andrea live? I want to stream. I wish there was a way that we could stream it, like do like a watch party. I know there's apps and shit. I'm not. Let's be real. I'm never gonna. We're at the end. We've made it. We're at the end, and I still don't know how to do a watch party. So I'll stream the audio. I sent her a Twitter message. I asked her if people are streaming it and if she's like how she feels about it. I don't love it because I want her to get the views, but let's be real. What do we get? Like 20 of our best folks on an Andrea evening PJ party. So I really don't think she would mind, but I did ask her. I still want to wait and see what she says, but I'll stream the audio regardless. I might. So I'm gonna end and do a walk, do a stretch, do a water. Yeah, maybe play it in the background or give it a play and a refresh another day. Yeah, it's scary, the chat. It goes too fast. And Luke's gonna refund her the 1 cent we lose. That's fair. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so I'm gonna conclude now and I'm gonna eat. I got a sandwich. I have a sandwich. It's not really a sandwich. It's a breakfast sandwich for dinner. It's a bagel. Wait a sec. Why? What happened? Yeah, DB always fucking rolls in smelling like them over there. Lipstick. What happened? Y'all are making me nervous. What? Where are y'all watching something or reading something? I don't know. The sandwich thing threw me for a loop. What? Oh. Everyone's gasping. I was gonna do a meme. Oh, do a meme, DB. I'm not in a rush. I have my sandwich right here. It's a breakfast. It's a what is it? It's like a bacon, egg, and cheese bagel from lunch that I didn't finish. It's really good though. This is like the one of the #1 things about moving back home to New York State that is just the best. The best. I won't even eat a bagel in another state. I don't fucking care how good they claim their bagels are. Tell me what? DB does love a misinformation. Holy shit. I'm about to Ban, 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 ban. Well, whatever. I'm going to schedule my thing. Oops. What did I do? This is called, oh, this is such classic DB, ladies. We all know it. We all feel it. Just a little friendly little DB gaslight. That's all. Just a friendly little DB gaslight. Just a friendly, you know, oh my God, wait a second. I was just going to show a little meme. I was just going to do a little meme. Baby girl, we're on to you. I was just doing a little meme. That's all. You just got half a lamb. What's that mean? Oh, right. Oh, wait. I always forget that I have this here, that I can do stuff with it.
Are you fucking insane, dude?
Oh, that's the wrong one. This is the
I
one.
want to give you a hug. I want to give you a hug.
Drop him in the chat if you want to give baby girl a hug. He just doesn't want you to go, Ange. This is what my Delulu mind tells me too. I think all of our nervous systems are just absolutely shot. Just James, we're gonna take a break and I'm gonna put up another stream and we're gonna come back together at 7 o'clock and we're gonna actually stream Andrew Burkhart together. We're gonna do a rebellion, but we're also gonna ask everyone to play it in the background. I don't know where the fuck Fiend is, by the way. If y'all see Fiend out there on the streets, let him know I've been fucking looking for him. Okay? If y'all happen to see that raggedy weircat, you tell that raggedy weircat that Moth has been looking for him. Because I got words. Because I've been looking for him. He's been in court twice now. Yesterday and today. What's he doing? What's he doing? Where's the update, Fiend? You don't want to share your update with your family? You don't want to share your update with your family? What? He just went out. Are you just bored? We're going to go hang out for a little bit and then we'll be back. And I'm going to schedule the stream. I'm going to schedule our community scream for 7 o'clock. And Indy Cindy, you caught a live, but I'm going to end this live and then do another one at 7. So 1 hour and 5 minutes. Yeah, 1 hour and 5 minutes. Okay, love you, bye.